5, 4, 3, 2. Boom. We are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We've got two exciting guests for you today. We have Kevin and Kuwan of Avarik Saga. I'm excited to chat with you guys. It's been a little while, but happy to catch up. You want to introduce yourselves?
Sure thing. I can probably start. So I'm Kevin. I'm the CEO of Avarik Saga. So my background is more on the management consulting side and also venture capital. I used to work for one management consulting called Boston Consulting Group back in 2014, 2015. And I used to work for one of the lead venture capital company called East Ventures that based in Singapore. So East Venture itself, they invest in a lot of like seed stage technology company. And right now they already have around like 9 to 10 unicorns. If just to name a few in the likes of like Tokopedia, Traveloka, and other unicorns company. So like looking at a different perspective or point of view is very interesting for me right now to see from the helicopter point of view. And right now, I'm kind of the one that doing all the operational and also strategical in building Avarik Saga. So and I think just to get of like where we begin probably like so I used to have the exposure of Web3 and cryptocurrency back in the days when I used to work for venture capital called East Venture. So back then, I used to lead the investment round for one of the crypto exchange company called Indonesia in Indonesia. And the founder really teach me on the Web3 space. He teach me more about like Bitcoin, Ethereum back then. And I used to write the ups and downs in the industry back in like, so 2016, I still remember it was like a long bull run. And then so back then Bitcoin was like running from like 4K, 5K to up to 20K. And then suddenly like in 2017, the market goes bear and it comes the long bear period, right? Until like 2020 probably. And then what triggers me to actually like continue to look for like cryptocurrency space is actually in Axie Infinity back in early 2021, where during the pandemic that really hit Southeast Asia quite badly, because like mainly from like Southeast Asia economy is driven by consumption. A lot of people are very relying their lives in by consuming stuff, and when the pandemic hits, it's kind of like a huge hit for everyone in the space, right? In especially in Southeast Asia, and Axie Infinity as the first or like the first well-known play to earn games, they can really help the Southeast Asia people, or especially people in Philippines, to continue their lives. So that's what actually triggers us to build Avarik Saga, because like we believe that we want to create an impact for Southeast Asia people. So I think Sean, want to introduce a bit of yourself as well?
Got it. Hi guys, I'm Sean, or Kuwan, my Korean name, and I am the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer of Avarik Saga. I manage the marketing side, the community side, the partnership side, and also investor relations. My short background, I'll try to be brief so we could deep dive into what Avarik Saga is currently, I graduated Carnegie Mellon, and I went to Merck. It's a data science it's a big pharma company in Germany, Darmstadt near Frankfurt. Then I wasn't really liking what I was doing at my job. Maybe I was not that great at it. I think there were more problems that could be solved in a unique manner on my side. So I moved to Gartner. It's a research company in London, and we looked into different hype cycle technologies, such as even blockchain. And I think that the people here know that my last name is a Kim, and we are South Koreans, and stereotypically we love games. I think I spend 12 to 15 hours playing games inside my dorm room back in the day in college. Now you mix that with blockchain, you kind of develop this, I would say, a monster called NFT Play and Earn. And rather than, you see, as Kevin talked about, the speed of technology involvement into the blockchain space developing in quite of a rapid time, rather than speculating and looking at the certain projects that might do well, why can't we actually develop something great, especially in the Indonesian market, where, interestingly enough, I grew up in Jakarta. I went to Patimura and also Pondagin, the Jakarta International School. So my background does belong in the grassroots movement of driving various technology in the Indonesian market. And yeah, I think there was a really great sweet spot there in 2021. And we are here, and we're very excited to really go over our project. It's a very big pleasure to speak with your community.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, this was it was a huge, insightful moment for me as well. We've always been fans of the impact space, but there's some things that are deeply wrong with charity in general. You want to really motivate people to through the incentivization, do things that they like doing and are passionate about doing. And there's this unique sweet spot that took place with Axie Infinity, and so I'm stoked to drop in a little bit more. So let's go over the vision of Avarik Saga. Where are we today, and what does the next 6 months of roadmap look like?
I see. So I'll probably take on that. So Avarik Saga is a play-to-earn games that started to build back in July, August 2021. And in end of September, we did our NFT sale. Back then, we successfully sell out our 8,888 NFTs, and we reached around $2.6 million back then. And since then, we are continuing to develop the game. And what we have right now is we already launched our mini game that currently can be played by our community. We have around close to 1,000 people playing the game right now. And on the full game launch that will be fully released on September, that currently we're still working on that. And soon, we are going to launch our IDO as well of the token sale on July. And right now we're preparing the IP side by launching motion comics and video lore series to support the story or the lore of the game. We want to make people really immerse and really attach to the NFTs, to the character that they have, and also to the game. And also, right now we are launching a lot of initiative to improve the mini game as well, and to improve the community side of it. Probably Sean, you want to add as well?
No, I think definitely. I know there's going to be a question about the development of how we're going to scale in Avarik Saga, so I'll just try to be very brief. I think Kevin's correct. We really are looking into the development of not just another Web3 game. I think everyone's very, very underestimating the fact of a good game doesn't change, whether it's a Web2 or a Web3. I think it's and blockchain technology is just an enabler. No matter if the paradigm shifts, or we're just really trying to be a really good game studio that could provide the right kind of expectations that the gamers want. And if we're able to really tackle that problem very well, I think not just in the subsidiary income matter that we're looking into, and just in a general way, there are much more ownership where users could be owning certain kind of assets inside the game, and they could really enjoy that, play that, rather than just giving up money and time. I think that's what we're really trying to provide as a vision. And we're really hoping to look for that. And happily, as if we have enough time, we could really delve into the deeper details.
Yeah, I'm new to the video game sector, and financial incentives usually can get people to do a lot of crazy stuff. So if you can put something together that's already fun, then also align a financial incentive there's room to postulate the industry could grow a significant amount potentially based
Correct.
off what's there. And also the community driver aspect too, the idea that you could have a DAO that even though after long original developers are long gone, the community can still kind of mold the game to where they see fit. But one of the things I'm interested in is kind of around the tokenomics and the aspects of gameplay. So how they're filled in. Can you tell us a little bit about the lore of Avarik Saga and the game style play that it like based off of?
Yeah, I think I could answer that, Kevin. So there's a context behind it. If you want to make a really great RPG game, the initial pillar that's needed is a really good lore. Now, any collectible games or a simulation-driven game, in order to really, I can't say buy, but if you're trying to enter this game, the user or the gamer has an expectation that, hey, I'm going to invest my time to go into a metaverse or a certain place where I could enjoy. And obviously it's entertainment. You have like movies, you have music, but the game provides a much more, whatchamacallit, like a tangible experience where you could interact with the world and also integrate yourself with the character. And it doesn't have to be super 3D or a pixelated 2D. It's really about that experience. And I think, Tiho, you're exactly right. The experience comes from the lore. And that's why we're investing so much of our time. We have a big team in the lore team. And I think we're investing that because we want that incentive so that users could feel that experience. And for the lore itself, going over a little bit of a deep dive, we are a very medieval Final Fantasy. Obviously, I'm currently in Avarik Saga right now. We have King Amar's castle right in the middle under the Avaris continent. And what we're trying to see is that very similar to, we got a lot of aspirations from Lord of the Rings, obviously World of Warcraft, and all these really great games that have a strong lore that people are looking up to. What's going to happen next in the expansion pack? Is Lich King going to do something really cool? And I have mass respect on that aspect of game studios. And even for us, we have our 4 ancient gods coming down in a very medieval land where humans are populating, but they're still savages. So there was technology that was involved that the gods gave. And using that technology, obviously humans, as we get very greedy. And once we got very greedy, we start conflicting and fighting with each other. So the gods got sick of us. So they went to hibernation. However, there was a specific seed of technology that was given to one individual. And that individual united the whole kingdom, who is King Amar at this point. And under his legion, there are 4 factions: the Ignis, the Terra, the Glacian, and the Tenebris. And under these lords, they're supporting each other. But again, because we're very greedy, there are some political battles going on between these factions. And the main character, which is you, who's going to play the game, will going to be that someone who's going to lead some of these factions to enjoy that, to get the honor of King Amar, is the first act of our lore and our chronicle. And obviously, I cannot tell all the different stories that will be coming up because it is very related with the quests of the main campaign and some of the legendary characters that are working out together. But I think those are the brief section of the lore, if I could provide you.
Nice, fantastic. And what about the game style, like the style of gameplay, like the combative style and the RPG style? What's the background in these games?
Got it. So the basic background, obviously, I don't want to tell my age, but around 20 years ago, I used to play a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics when it first came out in 1997. And then there was Ragnarok that came in. And we felt that there is a huge experience of nostalgic Japanese RPG games. And the Japanese RPG game itself, it's coined by Square Enix when they first developed the series of Final Fantasy Tactics. And basically, it focuses on a strategic battle formation, similar to chess in a way. But at the same time, each of that chess piece itself is a character that you're able to grow and actually modify its unique skill sets and asset abilities. And what we realized is that right now, at this current market of NFT play to earn, or we could call it play and earn, or even free to play, there were too many projects that have just collectibles. Because NFTs, it's very easy to use your NFT as a character access point to start the game off. But why can't we bring out something that's more character building, where you could relate with your characters and also have a full lore? So that's how we actually started moving. Hey, I think this is unique. This has longevity. Like, even I want to play this. Why can't we make something that the founders want to play, not just a way of getting tokens? And I think that was the way structured out that we were developed the game. The gameplay style itself is a 3 versus 3. I think a lot of people say, oh, that's kind of like Axie. But the biggest unique value proposition that we could provide is breeding is not the only feature. I think the feature is character building, where each of your characters has a lot of different ways to, or permutation on upgrading and thinking about how you want to strategize. For example, obviously, like leveling up your characters, skill point upgrades, upgrading weapons and armor sounds all great, but in ensuring there's also forging, very similar to the business or gameplay loot model that we brought in from Monster Hunter, which is a big game in Capcom. And it incentivizes your player to want a new cosmetic. It's something that looks cool that you could spread out and like make your friends jealous about, and bring that together where you have a full-on Japanese MMORPG style game that is just unique, but at the same time engaging for the user. So that was the general purpose of how we structured our thinking when we developed our game.
Awesome, great, very, very thorough. So let's dive into kind of what the next the next few months of building looks like. So let's tell us about the team.
Kevin, I think you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. So the team consists of like me as the CEO, and Sean is definitely our CMO. We met actually like during college. So as Sean has mentioned, so Sean has grew up in Jakarta, and we met at so in Jakarta, basically like the kind of like the group of people or the group of friends is just like a very close-knit community, right? And we met basically by mutual friends, and then yeah, Sean goes to Carnegie Mellon, and I used to go to USC, and we keep in touch since then. And yeah, Sean has a lot of interest in gaming as of course, and he knows that I'm more into like in the VC space. And then what makes us connected is we have the same vision of like, oh yeah, we should I mean, like, we all know that the next big thing is on Web3. So we discussed, and we decided to build Avarik Saga. And along the way, I mean, like, of course, like the founders is not just us. We have right now we have Edbert, Sean Edbert is developing on the product side. So he is also a mutual friend. I mean, like in the close-knit community that I mentioned just now. And we have Joel Handojo as our art director. So he's the one that designing all of like the characters, all the world, all the including the lore as well. So so that's basically the core team. We have a couple of advisors and also team members that support us as well. Right now, like the team, or they expand to around 40 people. Like we have like around 14, 15 from the management side, and around 20 to 25 on the game developer. So yeah, that's basically the team that we have right now.
Awesome. And what is the go-to-market strategy and your guys' kind of community focus? How have you guys, what's your plan to like really stand out?
So I think that's mostly the investor IR relations questions that you usually get. For us, I think we could dig it down to 3 different pillars. The first is the Indonesia focused team. I know it's ironic that I'm not Indonesian, I'm talking about Indonesia focused team, but basically in the market itself of Indonesia, it's the fourth biggest population in the world, very similar to a China in a way where you have a huge domestic population, but at the same time, you're really trying to look into a domestic scalable culture, and also you need the right teams. And for us, currently, we're working with EVOS, RQ, Bigatron, and Onyx. They're the biggest esports companies in Southeast Asia, and we're working with them towards having an actual NFT offline events, very similar to what a lot of pro games are doing with GGWL in Indonesia. And also we're working with Toko Crypto, obviously the biggest Indonesian exchanges, and also Ismaya Group, which is under Christian Risanto's family, to drive full-on offline marketing events through these offline lounges. And I think, and the second thing is, I think a lot of people underestimate that 94% of the Indonesian population speaks Bahasa, and second language is actually not English compared to what people think of the Philippine market or the Vietnam, where the current NFT play to earn is really booming. And looking at that aspect, we have a full team, almost 95% of just Indonesians that understand the grassroots movement on driving a really good game. We have the right kind of scalability behind the foundation and the infrastructure, which goes over why we could definitely develop a unique value proposition in our game. And the second, I tried to go over as a first player advantage. If you are the first at something in the blockchain space, it matters. We are the first RPG game in NFT in Indonesia, and also the first Japanese RPG game globally, which really drives us forward. And basically, this goes in tangent with our gameplay itself. I think there lies too much collectible games out there, or games that have very small depth into the expectations of gamers. And we're really trying to focus on that gameplay style where we could drive forward on longevity through the MMORPG gameplay features, use character building things. And I think this is the key aspect that we really wanted to drive. And third, I do try to be very, very careful on how I say this. I know this is live, but maybe I could use my phone. The current NFT play to earn market, we could kind of look at, if you look at into x-axis, there's casual gameplay and there's hardcore gameplay. And if you look at the y-axis, you have a pretty good tokenomics model and also less prioritization on the tokenomics model, or we could call it subsidiary income model. Now, based on the X and Y axis, let's say the fourth quadrant where you have a super, super good hardcore gaming user and also less prioritization on the tokenomics model, or let's say less subsidized income. We could think about like Guild of Guardians, Illuvium, that really stretches its forward, maybe because their proposition is that they're really trying to tackle the global market, which enhances the United States, which has a high GDP. So subsidiary income might not be a big demand compared to Southeast Asia. So, and Axie, they're most focused on the second quadrant where they're focused on more on casual gaming, but at the same time, using their tokenomics model, they have a pretty good subsidiary income with their guild services, which lies them on the second quadrant. And what we're trying to really tackle down is the first quadrant, where there is impact for hardcore gaming users, focusing on the really good character building game features. But at the same time, as we're hyper localizing on the Indonesian market, growing to Southeast Asia and then expand globally, we do have that strong subsidiary income model embedded into our tokenomics, so that it's a quite of a big blue ocean for us to tackle. I think those three are our unique value proposition on how we could really handle our voyage into this wild west we call Web3.
Awesome. Well, you guys have built a really strong community so far, so we're excited to see where it continues to go. The next spot I'd like to lead into is, can you tell us a little bit about these partnerships and what you think the future, what does the future look like? Yeah.
So should I go for this, Kevin, or you want me to go?
Sure,
right.
Sure. I think you can go. Yeah.
So what does the future look like? I think I want to answer a double question, Tiho. What do you mean by future? Are you saying future in Avarik Saga, or are you talking about future in the blockchain space of play to earn or play and earn?
Well, yeah, both, I guess. I hope they land together.
I see. Because I do want to ensure that I'm answering the right questions for our users. It's conceptual, hopefully, but it makes sense. Our vision and what we're trying, our future is quite simple. You look at Web2, and I'm a gamer myself. And if you're a gamer, what we all witnessed was you spend a lot of money, you spend a lot of time, and you get back from the game studio is something called memories. Now that's it. That's period. That's it. You get memories. Or you could go to the dark market to sell your assets that you kind of had. But
don't even have a cartridge anymore to sell.
Yeah. It doesn't really work well, but it's quite unfair, right? And then, AAA gaming industries, I mean, like Elden Ring, amazing games, but some games do work with a lot of these gacha services where mostly are focusing on play to win models. And I think we're all getting frustrated by that because we're spending so much of our time and money, and we're actually building some of the whole aspects of how the culture is going to be like in these games, but we're left with nothing. And it's like, okay, it was a great game. Theo, let's play another game. Maybe series 2 coming out like maybe 4 years later, and then it's an ongoing process. But Web3 gaming, obviously, play to earn, play and earn, free to play, whatever that is a auxiliary component. The real thing that Web3 and play to earn, or even gaming side, what we're trying to focus on is solving that, hey, rather than just getting nothing and just have memories, why can't we have something more like ownership of what we invested on? May that be time and enjoyment. And I think there will be a movement behind that coming forward. And it's slow, it's very slow, but we're working together. I mean, we work with different projects from all these different genres, from fighting to Super Mario Brothers kind of game, to RJRPG games, to auto chess battles that are playing out. And we're all believing in that vision as a full-on game studio that, hey, if we could start early and pick at the triple game industries and the whole gaming space itself, maybe we can move that forward of changing the ownership, not just to the game studio and centralize, but actually have all the gamers that are investing and spending that great time to have that ownership. And I think that's the trend that we're trying to move towards to, especially in the blockchain NFT gaming space, if that helps.
Yeah, I think perfect. I think Sean answered it perfectly. I think just to add on a few points as well regarding the vision of the company itself. So what we envision is we take a look on like emerging markets, right? And especially we're talking more about like Southeast Asia market, where we see the crypto adoption or number of crypto wallet that established in Southeast Asia is actually has not been that high compared to the overall population in the space. So just to give a kind of like a few regarding the adoption, like in Indonesia itself, roughly there are only 2.5 million crypto wallets compared to the 215 million population in Indonesia. So it's still around 1%, probably like maximum 2%. So I think it's a very low adoption in Southeast Asia. And what we clearly see that's happening in trend as well. Like I mean, I work in a space since like 2016, 2017, right? And during that time until now, majorly like people who are in the cryptocurrency space is basically are people from the finance industry. And what we see in the next years or so, since like there's an NFT on music, on art, and on the game, it can be the catalyst for like a new market or mass market to jump into the Web3 space or the cryptocurrency space. So what we want to do here is essentially we want to take be the agent. We want to be the ambassador for Web3 to get mass audience or mass market in Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia.
Yeah, there's a few pieces here. We definitely agree on the stakeholder style rewards for participation. The idea that we were part of the building of Facebook and Instagram, where all their value capture comes from, yet you were never given an on-ramp or a road to rewards or participation within that ecosystem. Most people around the world don't have an opportunity to access almost any financial services. And that was one of the interesting things too with Axes. We see this grass fire adoption because of the ease of the technology on-ramp for finding a way to work in this sector. We're always such a big fan of what brings mass adoption. I totally agree. The play to earn sector is one of the ways we can bring 1 billion or 2 billion new people into the ecosystem as a type of, I'm sure as a video game creator, we'd probably want to stay away from it. But as a on-ramp to financial services, I suspect that we're going to see big partnerships between telecom companies that will trade their minutes for tokens, the same way we saw with M-Pesa and some of the adoption in Africa. So there's a huge amount of potential here, I think, that is still largely overlooked. If you can grow that community of people who have aligned incentives and allow that community to kind of delegate what they like, where it goes, and the build out process and the long-term rewards that go along with something, if you actually can get network effect, because that's one of the kickers too. If something grows within the rewards of network effect, you're talking about asymmetric returns, which means someone playing a video game may play a few hours or like 20 hours the first time they played Fortnite and end up walking away with a significant sum of capital just because they were there early and playing the right idea. And this is such an interesting fact for me, whether it's participation in games. I thought it was going to come from social media. I thought it'd be like a remake of Twitter or something where people were being rewarded for the amount of retweets and likes and just engagement of the network effect. But happy to see it come out of gaming. And Sean, you made a great point about this. And I was chatting with Robbie last night around this too. The idea that you are buying video games, spending so much time in there and don't really have the assets to leave with. I spent most of my life when I was younger studying music. And even if I don't bring the instrument with me, the transposability of everything I learned on that instrument is exactly the same. Like I can play a cello because I can play the guitar because I can play the drums kind of thing. Like I can take some of the asset with me, whereas you don't have that in the video game sector. So even just at that base function, providing that, if you look at it just from the video game sector, with already hundreds of billions of dollars, that net increase is large enough to be extremely excited about, even if it's not you're not looking as a financial on-ramp. So my last thought here was around guilds and guild partnerships. How does this evolve? What do the guilds look like, and what do the games look like in the next few years too? That's kind of more of a broad question, whether it's your game, but I think we're insinuating that it has to do with this game. But I mean, like game, maybe there's a game in general change. It's not like RPG specific or something. I'm not sure.
It's no financial advice disclaimer. Like nothing that I'm saying is correct. This is just my opinion. Kevin might have a different opinion. And you asked about a question about the guilds, and you talked about gaming. I think it does move together in a way, but if we deep dive into the gaming, the guild first, I think guild has a really good relationship with the current NFT game model, because some of the NFT that's accessible for users to play is just ridiculously high. May that be through hype, may that be through certain successful hype marketing. And it's just really difficult of a high barrier of entry to start it off. And second benefit, I believe, is it's very, very difficult to understand how to really start off if you don't know anything about NFTs, but you kind of want to play a game, and there's a game that gives you subsidiary income. How do I start? Oh, you need to make a wallet. What's a wallet? Oh, you need to do KYC. What's a KYC? And all these different steps and is very, very different in an aspect that you might need to learn. Obviously, if you're in the United States, it might be a little easier because there's a lot of documentation on that. But
Oh no, it can be even harder because they're not allowed to participate in a lot of that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But maybe making a wallet is still
Yeah, well,
still
the education part, the scholar idea too. I thought this was just this idea. You know, the word scholar has like a fair amount of veneer to it as well. You're like going through schooling and learning something. You've the point you touched on here, I think, is really valuable. Is you're teaching people while you're on ramping them into the game, right? So they're getting a basic kind of Web3 financial services education in the process of being a scholar. Like half of the tuition is actually understanding the digital space.
right. It's the experience. You're learning through that progress. And I think obviously if you think very in layer one terms, it's like, okay, they make you play a good game. Second, you're able to play for free. But the core aspect is that on the user side, it's the education part. If you're in Southeast Asia, there might just not be a lot of really good documentation on really starting playing this game, like Avarik Saga. Where do I start? Do I need to make a wallet? What does EVM mean? Like how does the subsidiary model income works throughout the scholarship and the guild itself? And someone needs to, if there is someone who is localized enough to support you throughout the whole customer journey or the user game journey to play that game, I think that is there will be more prioritization on that as guilds become bigger and also well known. The aspect from the supplier, or we call it our game studio side, obviously these are the people that have a big funnel for us to start playing the game. At this point of time, we're still so early. I hate regurgitating this, but we are. I have to admit, we still are. And there's just not enough gamers yet. And if the guilds are the one of the first contact points that are able to bring in these gamers that are interested and have aspirations and are curious. And I think it's kind of like the alligator and those like birds that cleans the alligator's tooth.
But it's a symbiotic relationship.
And I think that's how we're all moving towards with the game side and the guild side that we're looking forward to.
And have you guys have partnered with a few guilds already, correct?
Correct. We are working very well with Irene from YGG SEA. We're working with PathDAO. We're working with GGG. We're working with Play Forward. We're working with Indie GG, the sub
Snack Club as well.
YGG India and Snack Club, and more. So nice. and it's more smaller guilds. I think it drives a really healthy competition together as well, so that each guild has their own kind of grassroots culture. I think people think about guilds as, oh, what is this model of profit ratio? It's really not like that. It's if you come as a scholar, you go to guilds where obviously like that 10%, 5% maybe make a difference, but you're going there because your friends like there, and like your friends love that because you love the community. And I know in the NFT space, everyone says community, but just really going deep down, it's like, oh no, it's a very simple matter of Kevin's in that guild. I kind of want to join that guild. I don't know about other guilds, but Kevin's in it. It must be something fun. And Kevin introduced some of the other scholars. They're pretty cool. And it's kind of like a TA, where like teaching assistant, like in college, where they teach you from zero to like, oh, this is the best way to do XYZ in this dungeon. I think that kind of way is more healthy. And if there's a lot of them, I think it really balances out the whole game system economy as well.
I was chatting with Miko from Gumi Cryptos about the guilds, and the scholarship is such a unique function of what's been happening here, again, because of the level of education that's involved. Like normally playing a game, aside from figuring out how to play the game, is actually relatively easy. For the most part, playing games are still hard, but I mean, you're not dealing with like understanding the complexities of a digital wallet. So finding out how to mingle all these ideas together is such a potent potent potential, I think, for community building and for strong adoption in Indonesia as well, in countries where the financial on ramp right away makes so much sense because there's so many people that don't have that. I don't, a lot of people are always comparing it to like the United States or something when they talk about regulation. It's like, you saw Smooth Love Potion like become a recognized currency in the Philippines, basically just de facto. And RuneScape apparently in Venezuela is a recognized secondary currency de facto, because when you're dealing with the inevitable downfall of any fiat system, whether it's today or somewhere in the future, people look for havens that are easier to use, and they can take with them if they want to travel too. And these crypto assets provide that. So it's really interesting to see the gaming world coming into such an important part of like impact investing effectively. So I'm very surprised by that. Well, gentlemen, it's been great to chat with you today. I'm going to give you the last few minutes to share with us any thoughts or things that the Bear family should stay focused on, when we can expect to be playing a live game together on another channel we'll start or something. We're going to start another gaming channel.
I think like would love to welcome the Bear family to enjoy our mini game right now, and it's already fully live. So please check out our Twitter, our Discord, and for now, like you're able to try out our mini game by purchasing our 3 Avarik NFTs that can be acquired through OpenSea, and then stay tuned for our full game release on September 2022. It's going to be exciting.
Awesome. We'll look forward to that. The mini game we shared in the private den, for all of you that are out there in the private den. If you're not in the private den, the links down below for all of Avarik Saga's social, Discord, Twitter, Telegram. Be sure to follow them there. Be careful of any links. Always make sure there's not 2 I's or 2 T's in something that you're spelling or been misspelled. Still, the space is still a wild, wild west, as Sean mentioned there. So we appreciate that, and we look forward. We'll when I guess we'll find another time to play. We'll find another time to play the game, and drop back in for that as well. So Bear family, give us a thumbs up if you like this content. Thanks for sharing so much of your time today. Almost an hour there. It's always a lot of fun. Sean, Kevin, I appreciate your guys' time today as well. Hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Appreciate it, Theo.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you. Thank you,
Awesome, gentlemen.
Thank you guys all. Bye.
Ciao. Okay, awesome.